America's Cup stays home.
The most illustrious and elusive of prizes in sailing.
What is mystique? Where does it come from? Is it history?
It all started in 1851. The prize was a 100 guinea cup.
Is it fame? The challenge? Many titans have conquered the world of business. Few have found success in the America's Cup arena. Maybe it's notoriety.
I'm sailing a cat. Somebody else is sailing a dog.
The cup wouldn't be the cup without a bit of drama.
3, 2, 1.
Go. We're racing.
The America's Cup has never been just a boat race.
My wheel.
Stand by.
It's much, much more than that.
Big pressure here. High mode is good. Goodness, fast.
There really is nothing else like it.
Hola, and welcome to Vilanova y la Geltrú, Spain, 40 kilometers south of Barcelona. Thunder, lightning, and heavy downpours have had a major impact on the opening day of this regatta. We're here for the next 3 days to begin the journey to the 37th America's Cup in 2024. This is a chance for New Zealand, Britain, Italy, America, Switzerland, and France to get the measure of their opposition and go bow to bow in the one design AC40s. In a nod to the America's Cup past, fleet racing is back. All 6 competitors will be on the course at the same time. There'll be 8 fleet races over the next 3 days, culminating in a match race final. High scores matter. It's 10 points for first, 7 for second, 5 for third, then 3, 2, 1. This is the first of 3 regattas. The teams will head to Jeddah, Saudi Arabia in November. And then things get real in 2024 when the AC75s take to the water for the final regatta in Barcelona. Winning the regatta, on the face of it, it's quite simple. Sadly, like I said, the weather wasn't playing ball.
Obviously, we've got a lot of weather around at the moment, so plenty of thunder, plenty of lightning and a lot of rain. But hopefully later in the afternoon this clears and we keep the good breeze for an hour or two, but then it'll be a quick drop-off. So hopefully we get the chance for 1 or 2 good races.
Still hope that we get some action today.
Yeah, we are all hoping to get some action and to get some wind.
So while we wait, fingers crossed, for a break in the weather, let's take a look at some of the racing from yesterday's practice day. It was a chance for all 6 teams to hit the water and test their skills against the opposition. And so here they were in race number 1 of the day.
Yeah, so we can see the boats coming in to the start. We've got all boats up on the foils. We've got most of them coming in on starboard. We've got Orient Express Racing on the left coming in on port, ducking the fleet now. And yeah, slightly different starting strategy than we've seen before, Peter.
Yeah, certainly. They come down from upwind and just boot it down the line, and off the line it was Emirates Team New Zealand who just used a lot of speed that they'd gained going down the line, and when the gun went, they put their bow up and looked very strong. They're over on that left-hand side.
Look at the start by Orient Express Racing. You know, the team everybody's doesn't expect to do much. They've been shot out of a gun.
Yeah, they came off on port up at the committee end and just launched it.
Here comes Emirates Team New Zealand, and they were strong at the start and would go all the way here.
That was a beautiful tack, and you know there was different techniques being shown yesterday from some of the teams, and yeah, we were seeing a lot of the teams really struggling and coming off the foils through the manoeuvre, and then taking a really long time to build back speed and get up to pace. And yeah, it was pretty interesting to watch. We learned a lot.
One of the things I really liked watching it was just how well the guys got off the start line yesterday. Emirates Team New Zealand, I think probably that was really the key to the day. They started the best out of all the other teams, and when you got a bit of clear air, I think that was pretty important. They sailed the boat well, did some nice manoeuvres, but American Magic, to be honest, as well, a little bit unlucky getting off the start line a couple of times, but their boat handling, the way they actually executed the powering up of the sails, getting the clew forward, getting the power in the main and the jib, and really nice transitioning from one foil to the other. I think they'll be the team, that everyone will be keeping an eye on. I think if there was a standout boat handling team yesterday, I think it really was American Magic.
INOES Britannia didn't have a great day yesterday.
No, they struggled a little bit yesterday, and we heard from Ben earlier saying they've spent more time in their test boat than they have in the AC40, so maybe a little bit down on time compared to some of the other teams, but like we said, they'll be analysing, and I'm sure they'll be improving rapidly.
Emirates Team New Zealand there lead at this particular point in time, going out to the top mark for the first time. It was around 40 odd metres, so they were chasing early the rest of the fleet, but Luna Rossa Prada Pirelli picked up the gas, and there were times yesterday in this race it felt like the match back in Auckland.
What's mind-blowing for me is these boats are going 33, 34 knots downwind, and we saw sort of lulls of 5-6 knots yesterday. It's pretty unbelievable.
Really, at the end of the day, these guys all need to work perfectly together. You need the 4 people on the boat absolutely working together to get the best out of the yacht. It's not down to one single person. Although Pete steers the boat beautifully, as does Nathan, the guys trimming the sails are actually the power management, and their roll management and power management of the boat is actually what gets them downwind quickly.
So Emirates Team New Zealand were first to the top mark in race 1 yesterday. They were first to the bottom mark, and they'd really stretched their lead out. And the one thing that still fascinates me, we're talking about identical boats, these AC40s, but one team just seems to be able to have put their foot on the gas that much quicker, and that still fascinates me.
This is the umpires. Penalty, Italy, boundary penalty.
And we were seeing that a lot yesterday, a lot of boundary penalties from the teams, and that's going back to what we were talking about. You just want to pick that right spot where there's maybe half a knot, 1 knot more pressure to do that tack and get through it and stay up on the foils.
This is race 1. They're on the 3rd leg of 4 in the practice race yesterday. And what we discovered here, while Emirates Team New Zealand was motoring up the track, it turned into a bit of a match race between American Magic and Luna Rossa Prada Pirelli.
Yeah, it really did, and it was great to see these teams going toe to toe, bow to bow, putting the pressure on each other, testing out those manoeuvres under pressure, which some of these teams haven't had much time to do, is check out how they sail under pressure, and you don't get that anywhere other than on a race course.
Motoring of these boats is a really critical factor. You can speed up and slow down, 5, 8 knots, depending whether you're in a high mode or a fast mode. So joining the dots and actually communicating what mode you're actually wanting to sail within the group is absolutely crucial for best performance. If you do not do that well, you will lose hundreds and hundreds of metres. So it's that delicate balance of, trying to get all the little factors right. Really moding in a fast foiling boat is one of the keys of apparent wind sailing. If you're not doing that accurately, you're making a big loss.
So it was Emirates Team New Zealand going around the top mark for the final time, followed in by American Magic. Luna Rossa Prada Pirelli went missing somewhere on their last tack, or one of that tack heading up that way. Casual view, you go, my word, they are flying.
Well, and they're just so incredibly efficient, the boats, in terms of their function. It's only right now, as we look at this, it's only, 7.5 knots. And they're crunching down the course at 30, 32 knots. It's just amazing how efficient they are. New Zealand now, this is on leg, coming down towards the finish on leg 4.
And so for practice race number 1, it was a solid win by Emirates Team New Zealand. They really had no one pushing them too much, although when we remind you of the gap between Emirates Team New Zealand and American Magic, it wasn't that bad. So it was a race win number 1 in the practice race, the dress rehearsal for today, which, may I remind you, has been cancelled for the day because of rather inclement weather. American Magic would finish this 41 seconds behind, followed home by Luna Rossa Prada Pirelli, the Swiss INOES Britannia, and then Orient Express Racing. New Zealand taking maximum points, that being 10 points for the win. So that was yesterday. Today is a different story. The weather has been atrocious and all racing is on hold. We'll be back with more from Vilanova after the break. Welcome back. As you can see, the weather is terrible. So while we wait, fingers crossed for a break, let's take a closer look at the America's Cup and its rich history. It is, after all, the reason we're here.
To win the America's Cup, it's one of the toughest things in world sport.
We are looking at something that is similar to putting someone on the moon.
It's a bit of an obsession, I think, for a lot of us, the America's Cup. And to be given an opportunity to be a part of it and to race in it is a huge honour.
Made from sterling silver and weighing just over 14 kilograms, the old mug has a silver value of just over $12,500 US. But to many, it's priceless.
If you're fortunate enough to get to the point of getting to hold that trophy up and fill it full of champagne and drink out of it, it tastes pretty damn good.
1851 is the year it all began. A sailing race around the Isle of Wight. A radical yacht called America beat the British on home waters and took the trophy back to the United States.
The America's Cup predated the modern Olympics. The America's Cup predated the Civil War. It predated, all these milestones of world history that have impact on our lives here today.
The old mug has always attracted larger-than-life characters. Captains of industry, commanders of commerce, the rich, the powerful.
Skipper John Bertrand, you and the crew of the Australia 2 have shown us the stuff of which Australians are made.
The New York Yacht Club held the America's Cup for 132 years, and they successfully defended it 24 times over those 132 years until 1983, where Australia 2, through the clever design of Ben Lexon and a great sailing team, unbolted the old mug from 44th Street.
Since then, the Americans have won the Cup 4 times, the Kiwis 4 times, the Swiss twice.
I think the Cup is such a sought-after trophy because it's so hard to win. Everything in it's stacked for the defender.
It's just absolutely ridiculous that the winner gets to make the rules and the winner's into the final.
Coming up, boys.
The thing I really love about the America's Cup is that technology side, with innovation, really coming together at a set timeline towards a set goal.
Next year, the old mug will fly first class, as it always does, to Barcelona, Spain, where the British, Italians, Americans, Swiss and French will fight for the right to take on Emirates Team New Zealand.
Winning 3 America's Cups in a row by a single team hasn't been done before, to my knowledge. This team's up for it. Hope we can do it.
A rich history has made the old mug sailing's most sought-after symbol of passion and pride.
If you're fortunate enough to pull it off, it's just one of those life-defining moments that you never forget.
The team to beat is, of course, Emirates Team New Zealand. They are the defender and the only team guaranteed a place in the final. One team desperate for bragging rights in the lead-up to the 37th America's Cup is the challenger of record INOES Britannia, who are looking to reunite the America's Cup with its country of origin. The Brits are commanded by the most successful sailor in Olympic history, the legendary Sir Ben Ainslie.
The Cup is pretty captivating. I mean, it's toxic, basically. It sort of gets into your blood.
The quest for the Cup does take over your life.
It can never be just a job. I think if you're not obsessed with it, you're not really in the game.
I don't think anything matters more in the sporting world than winning the America's Cup to me.
I've always been obsessed ever since I was a kid. That was always an ambition to be involved with the America's Cup.
This is a winner-take-all at the 34th America's Cup.
Ben Ainsley, the tactician on board Oracle Team USA, and the challenger Emirates Team New Zealand.
2013 in San Francisco, Kiwis 8-1 up. We just had this incredible turnaround.
The comeback of 2013 is complete.
Being a Brit on an American boat, yes, the British team still hasn't won this cup. Let's try and do something about that.
For the mastermind. The 166-year wait to win the cup. It goes on.
We will be back next time and we'll be stronger.
Welcome to the official naming ceremony of the INOES Team UK raceboat for the 36th America's Cup.
Jim and INOES brought a huge amount to the campaign, and that's not just in funding. The attention to detail, the focus, the rigor, that was a massive boost for us.
INOES Team UK, they've got to win, otherwise it's over.
How favored that mark is. It's the short mark around to get them quickest up to the top gate.
Sorry guys, not gonna happen. Good effort though.
There were a few sort of self-inflicted wounds or mistakes, and we never really bridged that gap.
Kiwis can fly. The America's Cup stays in New Zealand.
It's not impossible, but it's almost impossible to beat them. So somehow we got to figure out how we get a step ahead.
Mercedes team, we were invited to be part of this AC37 cycle. Actually, the common link is Jim Ratcliffe and INOES.
We have a very strong presence in the Mercedes Formula One site, and we have a number of their engineers assigned to our project full time.
I've been quite lucky with big names in the sport like Schumacher and Alonso and now Lewis, and I have a sense of the type of animal that gets behind the wheel of a racing car. The fightiness that you absolutely know is in Ben, he keeps that well in check in this environment. You can see sometimes, you can see it just wanting to claw its way out.
Set a target and I want to achieve that target. And it doesn't matter how hard it is or how long it takes. We're now in our third campaign and we're going to keep going until we get the job done.
That's the defender and challenger of record. After the break, we return to Vilanova, where thunder, lightning and heavy downpours have put a real dampener on the first day of racing. Welcome back. As you can see, conditions are atrocious, and the sailors have been playing a lengthy waiting game, hoping to get on the water.
How do you deal with this, this kind of delay?
Well, you really feel for the event organisers, Grant Dalton, of course. Everyone in Vilanova has put so much effort into this event, and Ian Murray and his race team. But it's, when you're at the mercy to the elements, these things can happen. And hopefully this storm will pass away sooner than expected. We know that there's some decent breeze behind it, and we can get out on the race course and get going.
The sailors were optimistic, but all racing was eventually cancelled. Yesterday, though, was a very different story. Perfect weather and light winds enabled all 6 teams to put the AC40s through their paces. And so we move on to race practice number 2 yesterday, and 5 seconds and counting.
This one was getting a bit lighter in the day as we come up towards the start, and we can see boats all over the place. The New Zealanders still coming this way. There's umpire calls being made. Some of it is in practice for the teams for the racing that was going to happen in the next day. So it is a practice session. But it all got a little bit funky, this one, and we had, I think it was the French came off the line beautifully, foiled up down the leeward end. But a lot of boats had touched down.
Yeah, it was a really tricky start, wasn't it? I mean, we had pretty much all the boats starting 20 to 30 seconds late, but we just see Orient Express racing there, getting off the line on starboard, up on the foils, and just extending away from everyone else who's really struggling to get going.
Yeah, the French were really launched. Beautiful start. They got their time on distance. They kept on the foils. They would have looked behind and thought, oh, this is our day.
It's kind of a race between the rest of the field here as to who can get up and going quickest.
And still, Team New Zealand not on foils, USA not on the foils, right over on the far side. The French managed to just keep extending, and Luna Rossa were first of the B division to get going.
Around about 15 knots of boat speed is where the AC40 will dig itself out of the water and actually pop up onto the foils. So the first part of the acceleration's quite slow, and then it really builds quickly. And if you don't manage the power of those sails accurately, you'll actually roll the boat over to windward. So it's a real juggling act and getting the power and getting everything sheeted on quickly as you're accelerating. It's quite a juggle for the teams and something that's a bit unnatural at the start.
Well, unfortunately for the French, they tacked and touched down, and it's when you go from the penthouse to the outhouse and down to leeward. It was Luna Rossa Prada Britannia. As we look at this touchdown, and this is what Glenn was talking about, just didn't get that transition right, and down she goes.
There's no margin for error in these, is there?
Yeah, a little bit of a two-boat test here, and you can see New Zealand just starting to affect Luna Rossa Prada as the New Zealanders are squeezing up underneath, and at a point it was the Italians that had to tack away.
Yeah, we see the Italians tack away before they get too slow, because if they get too slow and they go for attack, they're going to fall off the foils. So they had to make that call and be really decisive in tacking away from Emirates Team New Zealand so that they could keep up on the foils and keep the race alive. Yeah, it was a really good battle at the top quarter of this upwind first leg between Luna Rossa Prada Pirelli and Emirates Team New Zealand. A classic match race, really, Peter.
Yeah, this was the moment. This was the moment of the race coming up when the New Zealanders dipped behind the Italians, and when they dipped, they picked up a lot of speed, and they just milked that speed all the way over to this right-hand side. And it was the next cross where we had the lead change.
Yeah, it was, and actually, you know, this right-hand side, all day we sort of thought that maybe had that little bit more pressure. And so, yeah, Emirates Team New Zealand really making the most of that.
That was the lead change, and Team New Zealand there, although they were showing bow to bow with Luna Rossa Prada Pirelli, it was the New Zealanders that were closer to the right-hand mark, and that's how they took the lead.
So at leg 2 of 4, that as they head down there, Emirates Team New Zealand were about 60-odd metres in front of Luna Rossa Prada Pirelli, with American Magic some distance behind, some 400 metres behind. Then it was Orient Express Racing, INOES Britannia, and Alinghi Red Bull Racing.
The same pattern on this downwind leg as we watch it unfold. The New Zealanders sail just a click deeper at the same speed. So that means they're actually moving to the bottom of the course faster over the land in a straight line. And I think that is a technique function.
Happy to take this all the way on this chart.
Can't see. I got the them way up there, but you're conditioning.
This is the umpires. GBR boundary penalty. France boundary penalty.
Yeah, happy to go straight.
It's a long way, but I think it's good.
Yeah, it's fine.
That's them right on your line.
Emirates Team New Zealand on the second leg, and the downwind leg, first to the top, first to the bottom, and practice race number 2 yesterday here off the coast of Vilanova, Geltrú. One thing that is really obvious with Emirates Team New Zealand, very calm, and they are so in sync.
Yeah, really, really calm comms, you know, talking about the pressure, talking about the ley lines, talking about the other boats, and just, I guess, never getting caught unawares and caught with a surprise.
Yeah, the New Zealanders certainly showing how to keep an AC40 foiling in very light conditions, and you could just see there the New Zealanders are going along, you know, real quick as we just flip back to Luna Rossa Prada as they come across. But what I was trying to get to there was the French were in the water, not foiling, doing 1.4 knots. The New Zealanders, we can see it there, 4 knots for the French, 24 knots for New Zealand, and that's all that foiling differential.
So, for the second time in as many races, Emirates Team New Zealand rounded the top mark first and headed down for the homeward leg downwind, and their gap to Luna Rossa Prada Pirelli just kept on growing. Yes, and that was race number 2. New Zealand again taking maximum points, picking up 20 points after the 2 races, followed home by Luna Rossa Prada Pirelli. INOES Britannia, American Magic Alinghi Red Bull Racing and Orient Express Racing. Well, what a difference a day can make. The weather gods weren't playing ball on day 1 of the Vilanova Regatta. All racing was cancelled. But tomorrow is a new day, a new start, and we'll be back with all the racing.